You promised your family an SUV, but you promised yourself a V12. Here's your first 5 minutes with the Ferrari Purosangue. Alright, so with this car, I want to answer three main questions. First, is it a real Ferrari? Is it better than the Lamborghini Urus? And is it actually worth $500,000? Now, before we get the answers to these, let's take a quick look at what Ferrari's built here. From the front, it doesn't look like an SUV. You don't get a tall hood or large grille, you get this layered face with thin headlights, kind of like a Ferrari. The whole nose looks like a raised supercar. Move up over the hood and you start to see more Ferrari language. The hood flows into these muscular fenders that make it look like the car's flexing even when it's parked. And of course you have functional aero bits all around the car because let's not forget, this is a very, very fast SUV. Now, there's this really interesting layering going on from the fenders over the wheel wells. Visually looks cool, but I never like seeing that plastic gray on a $500,000 car. Drop your eyes down to the wheels, this is where it gets serious. I especially like this wheel design because at first glance, it just looks like a two-tone wheel. But then you start to feel the dimensionality and the sculpting around each spoke, and there's a real nice brushed metal finish to them that really shines. Moving down the side, you notice more of that plastic gray on the giant rocker panel. I wish this was some sort of carbon or a darker color, but it is what it is. Here's a quick glance at the proportions. It doesn't really have a big blocky SUV feel. It looks more like a shooting brake that just sits a little taller. Long nose, cabin pushed back, big shoulders. Everything about it says it's a front engine Ferrari first and a family practical car second. Wrap around the back and this is where it goes full Ferrari. From this angle, if you cropped it in half, you could almost convince someone it's just a Ferrari coupe. Pop the trunk and one thing you do not get is massive cargo space. You can see how the design and aero came before the idea of carrying 7 suitcases. This car was shaped with emotion first and practicality second. Now I'm going to let you hear the V12 start up and rev in just a minute, so stick around for that. Now as we head inside, this is where it starts to feel like a proper Ferrari that just happens to have 4 doors. The door panels look like they were designed in layers. You get this beautiful mix of leather and suede with the material changing without screaming for attention. It's subtle, but it feels very high-end. The seats, absolutely stunning. They feel firm when you first sit down, then they wrap around you as you settle in, so you feel locked into place, but not punished. That center console, the gear selector is a little bit strange at first glance. It's meant to be an homage to the old gated shifters. Not sure how I feel about them. Grab the steering wheel and you forget you're in an SUV. The toggles have the perfect click, no looseness, everything just has this instant mechanical feedback. Then you open the rear door, which is rear hinged. Inside, you don't get a bench. You get 2 proper individual seats shaped just like the front seats. There's a center console running down the middle with storage, cup holders, controls, climate controls, all depending on the spec you get. It feels like Ferrari built 2 extra first-class seats instead of just taking the easy way out and putting a bench. Now there's one weird thing you notice only in person, and that's how tall the rear doors really are when they're open. On a normal SUV, you're used to that big opening, but here, because the car sits so low, it feels like 3/4 of the car's height is open. That's the trade-off. You get drama every time someone gets in the back, but you definitely lose some clearance. You hit the button and it closes the door on its own, which is a nice touch in a car like this. So let's get to the questions. First, is it a real Ferrari? Let's admit it, the main reason Ferrari purists even ask this question is because they're just that, purists. In their head, a Ferrari is supposed to be low, mid-engine, 2 doors, and completely useless for anything practical. But times have changed, and believe me, from the driver's seat, it does not feel like an SUV pretending to be a Ferrari. So next question, is it better than the Lamborghini Urus? Well, putting personal opinion aside and just looking at them on paper, you'll notice that while the Urus does cost about half the price of the Purosangue, there's good reason for that. Many parts, buttons, switches, and even the chassis are shared with some very familiar faces over at Audi, while the Purosangue is designed and built from the ground up, so you make the call. Finally, is it worth $500,000? Let's put it this way, the Purosangue is something money literally cannot buy you from most brands anymore. A naturally aspirated V12 in an SUV. And if you're a Ferrari purist and you wanted an SUV, this is about as pure as it gets. And if you're a Ferrari collector, having an SUV in your fleet is a serious flex. Is it expensive? Absolutely, but there's still a 2-year waiting list to get your hands on a new one. So if you wanted this particular Purosangue with 700 miles on it, head over to Eurocar in Orange County, California, where you'll see a colossal warehouse with some of the most unique specs on the market today. I'll add a link to buy this Purosangue in the description below. Now I want to hear from you. Did Ferrari sell out by building an SUV? Because back in 2016, their CEO famously said, "You have to shoot me first," when asked about Ferrari making an SUV. Now here we are. Was it a smart move, or did Ferrari cross the line? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Let me know what car you want me to review next, and I will see you in the next video.